Hi, my name is Khanh, and today I'm going to present my novel project analysis presentation on the story The Adventure of Tom Sawyer, written by Mark Twain. The first part I'm going to talk about is the introduction, along with the analysis of the plot. First of all, the story introduced us to Tom Sawyer, a kid who is up to no good. He skips school and gets into a fight, which angers Aunt Polly. As punishment, Aunt Polly forces him to whitewash the fence. However, because Tom is a cunning boy, he already has a trick upon his sleeve to dodge the punishment. Tom convinces other boys to do the work for him by saying that the work is a horrible action, and in order to have the privilege to wash the fence white for him, these boys must pay him some their treasure. The exposition's purpose was mainly to set up the scene for every single action, and after that, the advent shows Tom Sawyer is set in the 1840s, before Civil War, when slavery was a huge debate among people. During the time, there was the Thames Battle of the Free Slavery North and the pro-slavery South. In general, the settings really nailed and goes hand in hand with the theme of the story. The next part is the rising action. At this point, the tension start with the introduction of Betty Thatcher. Around the time, Tom falls in love with Betty Thatcher, but this relationship quickly collapses when Betty learns that Tom has engaged before with another girl named Amy Lawrence. After the breakup, Tom runs away with two of his friends named Huckleberry Finn and and they quickly become best friends. The two agree to meet at the graveyard to test a cure for warts, but in the process they also witness a murder of Dr. Robinson by Agent Joe. Agent Joe was accompanied by the already young Muff Potter, and Tom and Huckleberry are afraid of what they just see, and they promise to not tell anyone about the situation. As a result of this action, Muff Potter is wrongfully arrested, while Tom and Huck runs away to a nearby island with another boy named John Harper, and they pretend to be pirates. Everyone in their community tries to look for Tom and Huck, but they are nowhere to be seen. And the people in their community set up a funeral for Tom and Huck. After a while, Tom and Huck returns and during their funeral and surprise everyone. Later on, Tom feels guilty about the graveyard incident and decides to confess, telling everyone that Agent Joe is the murderer and Muff Potter is actually innocent all along. The rising action starts with a classic romantic type relationship typical in schools, and later transition into a serious murder of young Dr. Robinson. This sudden change happens so rapidly that our adolescent boys cannot catch up. They break out Becky, the trip to nearby island, to become pirates, and the confession goes too quickly. And with that, Tom and Huck enters a haunted house looking for treasures. Because they are pirates, they also see Agent Joe and several men burying the treasure of their own. A lot of gold. Huck, at this point, Tom and Huck split up. Huck follows Agent Joe every night, and then to learn the location of the treasure. and during the process, Huck also learns about the Agent Joe's plan to murder um, with Widow Douglas, an innocent woman. He Huck told everyone about this plan, and he successfully saved the Widow Douglas. While in the meanwhile, Tom fall, Tom's going with his class to a cave with Betty Thatcher. And his classmate, Tom and Becky, are lost in the cave, which turns out to also be Injured Joe's hideout. Tom and Becky finds a way out, telling Judge Thatcher about the murder. Judge Thatcher then traps Injured Joe inside the cave and stabs him to death. This is the climax of the story, and in Huckleberry Finn, it's obviously the star of the show. He finds out Injured Joe and the goal, and he learns about the assassination of Widow Douglas. This is the point when I believe that Huckleberry Finn is a more mature boy than Tom Sawyer, at least to a few points. First of all, Huckleberry Finn is persistent. He keeps following Injured Joe wherever he goes. Huckleberry Finn is an orphan, so he's forced to learn the way to survive in society, while Tom Sawyer still has his aunt to aid him. Anyways, my father is saved, and Huckleberry becomes a hero for saving everyone. In the end, Tom and Huck finds the treasure of Injured Joe, and Huck's adopted by Widow Douglas. The boys also find out about the Injured Joe treasures, and they become rich. About the theme of the story is primarily about the two characters, Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, around the 1840s. When Mark Twain grew up in the town of Hannibal, the story is based heavily on his memories growing up, and the characters are based on his relatives and friends. Tom Sawyer has a combination of traits of the three boys he knew. On Polly is similar to his mom. Sid resembles Twain's younger brother, and Huckleberry Finn and Agent Joe also resembles people who was living close to him as well. The main reason why so many people from all ages can enjoy all sort of mischievous things that Tom and Huck does, like hunting for treasure in the haunted house, or going to island pretending to be pirates, is that this story addresses problems relating to both types of audiences, the young audience and the older audiences. Well, the young can certainly enjoy the mischievous activities of Tom and Huck. The elderly can instead pick up from some hidden gems, hidden problems by reading between the lines about racism and slavery. While the story didn't explicitly deal with slavery and mostly just acknowledged that the problem is there, his language used such a nigger injury set up the controversy. Readers can't tell whether Mark Twain was supporting racism or not. The story may be enjoyed by children all around the world, but it also reveals the cinematic problem of American society at the time. About the analysis of Tom Sawyer. At the start of the story, Tom Sawyer is basically a jerk. He skips school and gets into fights. He also has the ability to manipulate others to do work for him. However, he starts to grow as a character, one who makes more mature decisions, like taking the blame for Becky, confessing the truth about Agent Joe, and at the muffin trial, and finding an escape route to save Becky Thatcher. Personality-wise, Tom Sawyer is not a bad boy, and he's not an evil character by any means. I truly believe the main reason that he skips school and gets into fights is mostly to entertain himself, because life was very boring back then, and the only way for him to entertain himself and kill some time is to intentionally get himself into trouble. Therefore, when I ask him to grow up from his boyhood and actually make good decisions, he can do that just fine. It feels so easy, as if he was a good boy all along. There's a there's a quote from the story about Tom. The harder Tom tries to fasten his mind on his book, the more his ideals wander. So at least with Sun and Sid and John, he gave it up. It seemed to him that the noon recess would never come. Tom started ache to be free, or else to have something of interest to do or pass a dreary time. The most important decision that from Tom Sawyer in the story is definitely the confession of the Muff Potter's trial. At that point, Tom needs to face a dilemma. Either he decides to say nothing and let everything slide, but then Muff Potter will face the punishment for something that he didn't do, and Tom will feel guilty about it, or he can just confess and let everyone know about the truth. But then Agent Joe can just might take revenge and kill him in the future. It's, it's truly a tough decision, even for adults, and that Tom faces it when he's 12. In the end, Tom chose the latter and save everyone. And about Huckleberry Finn. Huckleberry Finn is basically an orphan since birth. He gets to wander everywhere and he enjoys freedom. He's also a quote about Huckleberry Finn in the story. Huckleberry came and went at his own free will. He sleep on doorsteps in fine weather and in empty house sheds in wet. He did not have to go to school or to church or call any being master or obey anybody. He could go fishing or swimming when and where he chose, and stay as long as it suited him. He was always the first boy that went barefoot in the spring and the last to resume later in the fall. In a word, everything that goes to make life precious, the boy had. Just like his counterpart, Huck Finn also goes through a major character development, but not as huge as Tom Sawyer. Huck Finn is a child with a vivid imagination, such seeing ghosts and witches in a haunted house. Huck Finn is also patient, waiting for the perfect opportunity to nab the gold from Agent Joe, and while also saving Widow Douglas from Agent Joe's wrath. In the end, both boys have learned many things about the adult society, but they haven't grown out of their boyhood just yet. The review should. I believe the novel plays a crucial role in history because the timeline covers the period building up to the massive civil war in the 1860s. The story does exemplify the time it was written because it addressed the problem of slavery and racism in American throughout to a story that many future generations of Americans can now revisit. In my opinion, the book should be considered a classic because many people have heard about the story and it has been around for more than a century. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.